Win Daily, we are here. Back again, another review of the President's Cup. Day 2 is in the books. Day 3 is coming up. It's a landslide, but we're here to preview everything, let you know how our bets went yesterday, what our predictions and preview is for tomorrow. And we're joined again, special guest, the man with the numbers, the man with the spreadsheets, upon the spreadsheets, upon the spreadsheets, Byron, Model Maniac. How's it going, buddy?
Dude, very good. Nothing better than doing a podcast on a Friday night with no work tomorrow after today's golf was a lot more electric than yesterday. There was so many good matchups, so many good moments, such good shots, some good stuff. So I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Happy to get on and rehash it all again, relive it again. So lots of fun stuff happened.
Absolutely. And if you're joining the stream, make sure you give us a like, a subscribe, hit the bell so you're getting all the Win Daily videos. We cover all sports, not just golf, NFL, MLB, NBA. So there's lots going on over at the Win Daily team. You also notice in the banner below, we've got a promo at the moment, 1 month free trial. Come over, see what you think of the product, get to chat with us in Discord, chat to other experts, ask questions about what bets we like, DFS lineup questions. We can answer specific questions about players for you. If you like the product, then it's just $5.99 a week. It is the lowest priced, best value product on the market. Head over to my Twitter, pin post at the top, take advantage of that promo and get in there right now, because when we're hitting winners like we did yesterday, Byron, you're paying for it straight away. You're paying for it yourself.
Yep. It's a wonderful investment when it pays off before it
Absolutely.
even has required resubscription. So life's good in the Win Daily world.
I posted a couple of weeks ago Italian Open, right? I had the winner, Robert McIntyre, who I tipped for everyone in play in the Win Daily Discord, who's paying 125 to 1. So, I mean, you put $5 on that bet, you've paid your subscription for 2 years. So, I mean, $5.99 a week, we're doing okay. We're doing all right. Come on and join the team, meet the community. Awesome group in the Win Daily community. Eh? Yeah. So, look, day 2 in the books. Byron, run through your thoughts. What did you think of the day? What did you make of some of those matchups out there?
Yeah, I think outside of whenever anybody that goes up against Paddy Ice and Cantley is going to just get bulldozed, and Hideki, I saw a lot of tweets out there saying he can't go back up against those guys again. He'll go to live like instantly because they are just pounding him. They just took care of business once again. So that duo is just really just showing off. The rest of the matchups were awesome. You know, we'll jump to the Scotty Burns one against Munoz and Sungjae Im. Sungjae was awesome. He chipped in on that awesome path 3 with the water on the left. You know, I think it's 14. Chipped that bad boy in to tie the match. Scotty makes a winder. Then next hole, Sungjae down on the 18th hole of the Green Mile. Puts a bender in there for birdie. Sam Burns comes back. Bang. Makes another birdie. So it was just back and forth on that matchup too. You know, Sungjae doing his absolute best to try and hold that team together. And I think that was the theme throughout the day, is that there was one guy in pretty much each matchup that was just broken back at the end of the day because the other guy was just piggybacking the crap out of him.
100%. I mean, look, that squad, you know, there was a great matchup between those two. I love the way that Sungjae Im's playing. I love the way that Sebastian Munoz played. You know, he got some great birdies out there. He made some great putts. You know, I think, you know, credit to the guy. He came out. We needed one of those really like ceiling rounds for him. We needed him to come out and like make some putts. Yeah. You know, and if we look at the scorecard, actually, a lot of the holes that the internationals took were off the back of Munoz birdies. No less than obviously 17th. He got the hole and forced it back into a tie. I really thought that you know, obviously I'd tipped him and Munoz as an underdog at $2.90 or plus 190 American dollars. If we're going to American odds. And yeah, obviously just stoked to have a live chance going into it. Yeah. Obviously with the weather, I thought things would be a bit more volatile. Sungjae Im, you know, obviously great short game, and we saw that on display today as well. Yeah. So yeah, no, look, was glad to have a live chance. Eventually ends up in a tie. They share the points, half points. Both of us lose our bets. But great to have it in contention, especially at some massive odds.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from this is Scotty Scheffler is just, he's playing good, but he's not playing at world number one level right now. And it's noticeable. You know, you can see it in his body language. He's not exuding confidence. He's not walking around with that poise. We'll see what he can get up to. You know, he's a statue of a man, and he can absolutely bounce back. But right now, it's not looking good. So we'll see what he gets up to in the singles.
I would have to agree. He doesn't look exactly the same as he did at, you know, from that win at Phoenix onwards, you know, where he looked like he was just like, you know, as soon as he entered the golf course, you're like, this guy is like top 5. He's finishing top 5 in every tournament. And went out and won a lot of them too. So, yeah, we're not seeing the same from him at the moment by any means. Look, I found overall better day for the internationals, despite the scorecard remaining the same. Obviously, you know, in the nature of the 3 games that they lost, they were incredibly close. You know, 2-1 for the Aussies against Spieth and Thomas. 3-2 for Cantlay and Schauffele against Matsuyama and Tom Kim. I mean, going down 3-2 against that pairing isn't the worst thing in the world. Again, a little frustrated that Immelman wasn't just rolling out, you know, like their weakest pairing against that match, because I feel that's already done and dusted. You may as well just burn your weakest players and try and win some of the other points, because you're just done against those two. And then Billy Ho makes Homer only won on the 18th on that final hole.
Yeah. And Pendrith had a really good opportunity. He had one of the worst lip outs I've seen in the weekend or the week so far. Just brutal stuff, man. And I was hoping so much for him to do it. And Corey, you know, you said yesterday how bad his putting is. First hole, he's got a 4 or 5 footer and absolutely doesn't even touch the hole. And I just sent you a message. I'm like, I should have double CC'd you on the email to PointsBet and told them to put my bet, but it was worth it. It was a good run, but man, Corey let him down big time on the putting too.
He did, and which is what I expected, and it's a great segue. Super professional of you, Byron. We can move straight in from there into our bets from the day. How did you go? Where did your bets go?
I landed up winning 2 and losing 2, but I won $1.50 because I had one of my bets was that plus 160 on Pendrith and Connors. So I only landed up having to bet like half a unit or 0.6 of a unit to try and get my full unit back. But yeah, I cashed in on Paddy X. Those guys are like a money factory right now. I actually also by accident bet on them to win the first 9 holes as well and cashed that too. You know, after we were doing a late podcast, I wasn't thinking straight. And then the other one was Jordan and Justin. They also just absolutely crushed. They kind of let both of the Paddy X and Jordan and Justin let the foot off the gas towards the end. So it could have been more dominant than they actually landed up being. But yeah, those were the 2 I won. And then Sam Burns and Scotty just letting it slip towards the end of the round is just so frustrating right now. It's two times they've cost me 2 bets now. So not good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know I was on the other side of that bet, right? So we were up against each other and the bookmakers on that one. Yeah, look, I'm stoked with the way the bets went the first day. Got to say, I mean, I had Spieth and Thomas for the win. I had 3 units on that at $1.80. Then I had in Munoz. That was just incredibly live, you know, and they were an underdog. At 290, so I don't cash on that one, but I'm glad that I gave myself that opportunity to get a spike winner at big odds.
Yeah,
Kisner Young, obviously a little bit disappointing with the push there. I had Schauffele Cantlay. I had 2.5 units on them at $1.73. I had 2 units on Billy Ho and Homer at $1.91. And then obviously we hit the correct score. You know, I mentioned that I liked as a banker for the score today a 4-1, and I could see a case where the internationals won 1 game, or in this case, you know, they halved a couple of them, and it went to that 4-1 scoreline. So I had 1.5 units at 5-1 on the correct score being 4 to the USA, 1 to the internationals. And then in terms of the parlays, I had my best bet of the day, which was Spieth and Thomas into Billy Ho and Max Homer. I had 5 units on that at $3.43. So that obviously cashed, which is awesome. Best bet in the bank. So you put $50 on that, you would have won $171 back, and you'll be taken to that to the bank. So overall, 20 units invested and 32.8 units return profit day 2.
That's beautiful. Beautiful day of work, my friend. Beautiful day.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, well, I didn't do the work. I just put the numbers, and then the golfers go out there and they do the work for me, and that's my style of work. I like that. That's nice. So, happy days. Awesome. Yes. All right. Well, I think first thing that we need to do, because we didn't do this yesterday, and we had a huge discussion about all of the golf and what was going to happen on the golf course. And then for the last 15 minutes, we looked at the weather and we were like, oh, holy cow, does this change our thinking about
good idea. Let's check the weather, bud. Yeah.
So let's do it the right order. We're going to go to the weather first, and then we'll talk about our bets. So I'm just going to bring up my favorite site for my weather discussions. Again, looking into Saturday. So bear in mind, those temperatures are Celsius for anyone who's using the weird Fahrenheit system where water boils at like 38.25 or whatever it is. Get with Celsius, it makes more sense. It's going to be a little bit warmer, sunny, but windy. Bear in mind as well, right? So we got 2 rounds packed in tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. We've got 2 sessions coming in. Mm-hmm. So we've got 4 foursomes, and then in the afternoon we've got 4 4-balls. So they're going to be going out early. Like, it's going to be a full day of golf tomorrow. So we're actually going to experience all of those weather windows there. So it's looking, again, I mean, it's not looking this kind of like we had 41 miles per hour at the end of the evening yesterday, which, like as predicted, was going to create some volatility to the day. We're not getting that, but I mean, 33 miles per hour winds, like that's still a decent level of gusts coming through the middle of the day. I would say the prevailing wind looks to be a little bit lower. So, if it is gusty, right, they can go one of 2 ways. The golfer can step back, perhaps, if he hits a gust, wait for the gust to blow through, and then go and try and hit his shot in time. Yeah. Alternatively, though, with gusts, what we do see is you think that the ball's going to do X, you step up, you hit the ball, a gust hits, and then you're offline, you're off the green. Yeah. Suddenly you're in a bunker, you're chipping, you've got a 45-foot putt that you're trying to make. All of those things can happen as a result. So, yeah, my takeaway from this is kind of similar play. I'm going to be looking at some volatility. I'm going to be putting a little bit more emphasis on around the green, a little bit more emphasis on my putting stats as well. I'm still going to be favoring distance over accuracy. As I said yesterday, when it's windy, you're getting these gusts like this. People are just going to miss fairways anyway, regardless of whether you've hit a good drive or not. So for me, I'd rather be 40, 60 yards further up the fairway with a wedge in hand in the rough than further back in the rough with a 5-iron, struggling to get out of that Bermuda rough where you can get flies as well. What's your thinking going into this sort of wind tomorrow, Byron?
Yeah, same exact thing, especially with it being the foursomes to start off, where I needed the first session of this event to remind me that the scoring isn't that good in that format, because you're playing one ball, with alternating shots. It's tough to build momentum. You might only hit a putt every 4 holes kind of thing if it works out that way. So important to remember that. And I dialed up the birdies for yesterday, but I'm going to definitely dial them back for tomorrow morning, and then we'll dial them back up again for the afternoon. But yeah, just kind of trying to look for the Paddy Ice, the Paddy, Cantley and Xander combo, just super consistent kind of play that you're looking for from guys, especially in the wind. So yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, look, it's a good point going into foursomes in this kind of weather where you may see par win a lot of these holes. Like we can expect that kind of volatility of, like, if USA can't get up and down and they end up making a bogey, that a par can actually take a hole, and you're going to see some bigger swings as well. So maybe a good option for some in-play bets as well. There may be some opportunities where, mentioned yesterday about the iron play for the internationals, and that divide between the internationals and the USA team isn't as big. If we're coming into some of those par 3s, maybe we are putting some favor in terms of, if we've got like a Seabears who's better at his iron play, better with his putting, and going to be an underdog in every match because he's one of the weaker players in the field. They're going into those par threes. There may be some opportunities to make some prop bets as well and play.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Any more thoughts on that before we move into the spreadsheet to end all spreadsheets?
Yeah. No. I think we've got it waxed this time. We're not going backwards. We're going in a logical manner through this podcast today. So I'm proud of us already.
We had a plan, we had a structure, we stuck to it. Yeah. Not just two degenerates talking about golf. Exactly. We've got a format, super professional, bar. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
All right. So let's bring it up. Let's bring up the board to end all boards. And Maniac, you've done it again. Just absolutely incredible work from yourself. The stats are outstanding. Talk us through what, for those who are uninitiated to the way that you run your models, can you talk us through what we're looking at here and viewers, how they can interpret some of these numbers they're seeing on screen now?
This was inspired by yesterday's podcast, by the way. I was, when we're getting into the different ways the par threes can come into play, that's what kind of inspired this. So the first row, we got the yardage of the hole, and then the next two rows are the estimated approach proximities for each team. This is a US team based off of who goes off odds or evens, and they have the same exact combos going out again. So I think we know who's going to be playing what holes, and it makes sense for them to play these guys on the specific holes. So you can see what proximity ranges each guy's going to land up in, and then I just took whatever proximity range they're going to be most likely in within a 25-yard range, and then I made that 50% worth of their approach rating, including just their average approach play across all ranges for that specific player. So when we get to the Cam Young, Colin Morikawa, you're going to see it's a beautiful thing. And you can just see the analytics and the statistics just pop off the page. So, and then you just grab, the putting, because each guy's going to tee off the tee box off odds or evens. Mm-hmm. And then based off that, they're definitely going to have a putt or a chip. So I put 25% worth of around the green and 75% worth of putting for the guy that would be going after the next approach play, after the next approach shot. And I did that for both guys. And then I just got an average rating for each hole. And then I averaged out those holes to get us a combined rating for the whole match. And I only used like 60% worth of a rating for 18, 70 for 17. I kind of petered off the importance of a hole as the holes got towards the end, because not a lot of matches make it toward the final hole.
Right, exactly. I mean, we have seen some of those matches close off a little bit earlier, right? Yeah. So, that makes sense. That's incredible.
Yeah, so if you're like looking at the Corey Connors, Sungjae Im, if they don't make it to 17 or 16, they're missing out on a lot of their advantage over Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas tomorrow. So, yeah, it's interesting. They should statistically be beating Jordan and Justin, and I had. It's not a big enough advantage over them to put a bet in, but they definitely should be favored. If you're going to throw a parlay together, maybe you can. I'd probably go with Corey and Sungjae. I mean, Jordan and Justin have been absolutely living on magic beans. Jordan's hit it into the creek on that signature hole twice, and it's bounced out, and they've made par both times. So, that kind of stuff doesn't last for 4 straight days. I don't imagine. But it could. But on paper,
at least your name is Jordan Spieth, and it just seems to happen like every time, right? Like
ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I say I love this matchup? I'm super excited to see these guys go out there and play foursomes. Like, what a match! Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Corey Connors, Sungjae Im, like some of the best ball strikers in the world right now. Like absolutely stunning ball strikers coming into this match. I absolutely love it. My question in regards to this, I mean, look, I see that, you've obviously got Corey Connors in winning the second hole, 6th, 7th, 11th, 12th. But as you mentioned, a lot of those points are falling for them in that 16th and 18th, Is there, I guess, a risk that, it's kind of done and dusted, they end up missing out on all those strokes that they're going to be gaining on those last 3 holes?
Yeah, you'd imagine so, right? Or maybe they don't even have to get maybe they win it before then too.
Yep.
There's some serious advantage for them right at the turn, which I think we might have even seen in round 1, 2, where they kind of had a bit of a comeback. I don't know. And this is just a statistical, it's nerdy, it's whatever. It's on paper, right? We all know that when it gets onto match play and the nerves are involved and any bounce can happen, who knows what happens. But this is theoretical. If you play this bet over and over, I would lean towards the international side, but especially getting plus money as a favorite in my model. So it's interesting, right? Because this doesn't equate for magic beans. That's the thing. And Jordan seems like he's putting lights out right now. He was boxing a bunch of putts today.
Which, when you've got Jordan Spieth making putts, that's a scary proposition. That's a scary proposition. Well, the only other thing I'd ask about this is, does this draw in any data from what they've already been doing on the course, or is it just a predictor of like where they may be? Okay, like where we expect their approaches to be, and then we expect them to be gaining this many strokes.
This is using the last season, 2022 season stats. So, a good solid year's worth of data. I'm not really necessarily a big fan of jumping on spike performances within. And there's no data, I don't think, available for what they've been doing anyway.
No, there's nothing from the last few days. No.
Yeah.
Look, I'm probably in this matchup leaning towards the Spieth and Thomas, despite what I'm looking at here. And the reason would be the wind, Corey Connors putting. Like if these guys get out of kilter in terms of the order that they're playing, it could go really bad. I feel, Jordan Spieth's just got such an amazing record at places like the Open, right? Like where it is these like windy, exposed, kind of tough courses where he's going to have to scramble, get up and down, and I love that element for Jordan Spieth. And JT is just, for me, he's got that X factor that you kind of get from like, Ian Poulter back when he was with the good guys, and playing in the Ryder Cup. Like, when he gets that fire in his belly and, you just see it in his eyes of like, nobody's taking this guy down, and I get that same vibe from Justin Thomas when he's got that look in his eye of like, it is scary and you want to get out of his way, like, and so I still, I love this matchup. Absolutely love this game. Can't wait to see how this plays out. I think given the wind, I still want to put an edge for me on Spieth and Thomas. Current odds for that $1.80 versus Sungjae Im and Corey Connors, which is $2.50. And when I'm mentioning those odds, I'm speaking decimal odds. So $1 invested equals $1.80 return for Spieth and Thomas, or if you're on Im and Connors, $1 invested, you get $2.50 back. So those are the decimal odds. Where do you see this game going?
So again, it's going to this foursomes thing where I think if you paired these two guys against JT and Spieth in today's format, they would be toast, because Connors just doesn't go out there and make birdies, but what he does do is pound greens and fairways. And in this format, like pars can win a hole. And I think that's where his game shines. I like them, man. They do. They do. An international team is due to actually win a freaking matchup, right? And this has been these are probably the two of my favorite players in the international team anyway, going up against JT and Spieth, who have just been riding that magic mojo. So, maybe we can go. We made our money for them today. I like the plus money, and this is off DraftKings, which is including if a tie happens, you're safe. It's a push.
Right.
So you can probably find a plus 180 out there on FanDuel for three-way. Love to see that too. If that's the case, I'm going to go there. That's just, it's too much value for a ball striking duo like this, because Jordan and Justin were all over the place today, dude, when it was coming to driving. And if they can't keep it together after that, then they're going to have a tough time. When you look at this Corey Connors and Sungjae Im off the tee, they're going to be in the fairway so regularly versus, Spieth and JT are very inconsistent. So starting off the whole strong, plus money for my favorite, I'll ride with them. I don't know. We'll see.
It's true as well. I mean, like, you know, we saw Spieth kind of follow Thomas into that hollow on the second or third hole, and you know, Thomas managed to get up and down. He managed to scramble, but you know, certainly wasn't like 100% there. I do put some of that volatility obviously down to the wind. You know, they are going to hit shots, and then Augusta's going to come through and buff it in, and then they're going to miss it green. So for me, you do need to put a bit of emphasis on that short game as well. And you know, looking at those stats, it does look like around the green, Spieth and Thomas have got quite an edge.
Massive edge.
So it's a tough one to call. It's a tough match to call. I mean, look, and it makes sense. It's two of the international strongest players, right? So you know this could go either way. Maybe do in that case take the plus money and get more value for what should be like a very tough match between two teams. You know that there's probably the better value bet is probably the smarter play. I think Spieth and Thomas probably get it done.
Me too.
Whether there's value in the number, that's the question.
Exactly. Yeah, and if they, especially right now, want to get off this and go and see that there might be like plus 200 because these guys are just rolling right now. You know, the momentum's there. Get a 2-1 odds for Corey Connors and Sungjae to go up against these guys. I wouldn't say that they get beat two-thirds of the time, right? I'd probably say it's a little less than that. I don't know. I might be.
Yeah, so I mean, the number I'm getting on Bet365, 250, I mean, that's plus 150 American odds.
Is that for a three-way or is that,
yeah, it's I mean, that's a tie is 7-1. So, you know, but as I mentioned yesterday on the stream, you should never be betting that a match is going to half. Like that's just not, it's not good value. They're never going to give you a decent return on that.
Yeah. But I like this one where if they do tie, it pushes, which I like that a lot, actually. So I might actually land up pulling the trigger on that.
And saying that, I mean, you're getting like plus 130. So, I mean, to go to plus 150, that's a decent bump if you are putting the half in play. So, you know, there's that for me, you know, I'm just doing quick math in my head, but in terms of like the implied probability of going, you know, plus 150 is a 40% odd versus plus 130 is 43%. So, you know, there's a little edge there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Match 1, done and dusted. Match 2. And can I just say, how good does it seem for the USA? Cam Young hitting a drive up and then Colin Morikawa gets the approach shot. I mean, Adam Scott and Matsuyama must just be looking at it going like, how do we combat that?
It's scary. Look at this 2.2 at the top, for each time Cam Young tees off, dude. And then you get from any proximity, you're just sitting above half pretty much anytime Colin's hitting into the green. So, and then you can just see the end result here right at the bottom. Look at the holes that Cam Young's teeing off and Colin's hitting in the greens. It's sizable advantages on those holes. So if you're going to be doing a hole by hole thing, I don't know what the bookies are doing on those ones, but you know, all the odd holes are looking like absolute favorites on every single one of those holes.
100%. Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a great option for in-play bets there. If you are seeing a hole where Cam Young's going to be teeing it up, you want to get onto the USA, I would say.
Yeah. And from what I noticed watching Cam Young, I think the ball striking's been there. The short game's been outside of that big putty he holed to end the match on day one. Hasn't necessarily been holding those 10, 15 footers, you know, like he typically does. The nerves might be after 2 days of doing this stuff. I think he believes in himself now. He's back with Colin, who I think is a much better matchup or pairing than Kevin Kisner. He carried Kisner so hard today. I think he's going to be doing much more less legwork with Colin on his squad. I love this matchup so much, and then plus that's minus 145. So yeah, it's not really that big of a value bet, but if I'm gonna pick a matchup here, I'm 100% going with Colin and Cam. Adam Scott's washed. I don't think he's got it. Hideki's super inconsistent right now. What's your take on all this stuff?
I 100%. I mean, like I see this as a banker that I'll probably use in many lines. Scott and Matsuyama were absolutely dreadful against Cantlay and Schauffele. You know, they're rolling that pair back out there again. I'd say Matsuyama, like as you mentioned yesterday, doesn't look like he's got everything at the moment. You know, maybe he has got a twinge, maybe he has got an injury still, but he doesn't look 100% there. He's getting a bit erratic. He's not getting the full distance that we used to out of it. So maybe he's holding back a bit, just trying to prevent an injury, something like that. And Adam Scott, I mean, look, Adam Scott can get incredibly hot. He hasn't. He's not there at the moment, and I'm happy to take, you know, what feels like hacking the game of Cameron Young driving Colin Morikawa iron shots. Cam Young can putt too.
Cam Young hasn't been,
Like that. That's the thing, is that he is a good putter with huge distance off the tee, and for a big guy who gets the ball out there to have that touch around the greens is just scary. Like it is absolutely scary. The numbers don't lie. You're getting minus 145. Odds I'm getting with Bet365 is $1.76, which is minus 130. So I'm getting even better value than that number with Bet365, which, you know, that just seems just an auto click for me. You know, I'll reveal my final card at the end, but just seems obvious.
Yeah, and for this matchup, you're getting minus 145 to include the tie if a tie pushes.
Sure.
I think if you can get it to minus 110, I'm cool. Minus 120. I think this matchup is so overwhelming that I don't think a tie is in the mix. Yeah,
no,
you know. So whereas the Sungjae matchup, I want the tie kind of in that bet. This one, I'm totally cool taking out the tie out of the mix and taking better odds. 100% agree with you there.
I totally understand that. I understand having that safety net, certainly for that other matchup, which we expect to actually be reasonably close. And this one, you know, in many ways, I think will be over before we hit those last three holes. You know, I think by the time they get to the Green Mile, you know, we're seeing a good edge for Cam Young, Colin Morikawa across that Green Mile. You know, the 13th and 15th hole particularly. As they play on course, I think it's done by then. And I wish that some of these bookmakers, you might be, I don't get this here. You might be getting this over on DraftKings or FanDuel or wherever you're placing bets in the States. But I wish they had some of those margin bets of, you know, handicapping actually, you know, Cam Young and Colin Morikawa minus 2.5 holes or something like that, you know, where I would be banging, you know, that they win with, say, 3 holes to spare here.
I would say 3 holes to spare is a great bet if you can find that for sure.
Yeah, if it's out there.
Yeah,
I'll have to do some digging around. I haven't seen anyone drawing lines like that, which is strange. They generally, like Ryder Cup, they generally pay that. They'll have like a, you know, over under of like game finishes by this hole, and that's not out there at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, I can't believe like this color coding at the bottom here is just insane. It's just so cool.
It's beautiful.
Look how crazy overpowering that is. You know, then you get to this and it's not nearly as
significant. And I'll tell you what hasn't been impressive is Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler has not impressed me these first 2 days whatsoever. I mean, he's I don't know what it is, what's going on with his game, but it's not 100% there at the moment. And as you said before we started the stream, Sam Bird's been kind of carrying this team.
Yeah. Yep. And I think with their 2 levels of inconsistency and Tom Kim's consistency, because this Tom Kim matchup went up against Colin and Cam, and they were hanging in there last on Thursday. So I think they've got a good, just not even looking at the you know, this is paper. We're talking about on paper right now, Scotty, as if he is the world number ones playing, but he's really not playing like that right now.
No.
So I'm cool going if, you know, I'm just giving my picks as we go match by match, but or leans. I don't think I'm going to bet this one in particular, but I do like the 2 Koreans. So Ju Young Kim is Tom Kim, and then Kung Young Lee is KH Lee. The database doesn't like names, so I had to put the originals in there, but just to clarify that those are the 2 guys that we're talking about, yeah. And KH has got some tidy short game, dude, and he's He's really good when he gets to the putting, and I love this matchup. I love the duo. We'll see. Maybe, Scotty and Sam, they start getting hammered, and we get 2-1 on these guys to win this thing. I'm leaning that way, especially with Scotty not playing so well, and Sam's drive has been hit and miss. They were a really good duo to have today in the 4-ball matchup where you can have one guy completely out of the hole. I think KH and Tom Kim are going to be way more consistent tomorrow. They're going to definitely be finding themselves with better looks in the fairway a lot more. And, Tom Kim, he's a fierce competitor, dude. So absolutely love him. And I think there could be some really big dog numbers out there.
There is. I mean, this is the match that the USA is most favored to win.
What are you seeing there for a full with a 3-way?
So for draw is paid as a separate bet, or a tie is paid as a separate bet. I'm getting $1.70 for Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns. That's a equivalent of -143 American odds. And then the win for KH Lee and Tom Kim is paying $2.75, so +175 for the Korean pair to come out and take victory.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm probably leaning that way. I mean, particularly we're thinking wind, right? We're looking at some of those around the green putting numbers. It looks like Tom Kim and KH Lee are they're gaining some decent enough strokes there for me to think they're a viable pairing.
I think the green splotches are Tom Kim. KH is good.
Sure.
But yeah. And Sam Burns around the green game isn't spectacular, right? If he's chipping out of Bermuda grass, I don't know if I'm loving that. Whereas, where he's probably going to be doing that a lot of that tomorrow. These guys' game isn't, like there's a time where you look at stuff on paper and you roll with it. And then there's a certain time where you just think, okay, they're not playing like they've been playing the last year. So I like it.
They've looked rough. And, I don't know if they're a pair that deserves to be like the hottest favorite to win. Like I personally, I feel Morikawa and Young are a much more certain chance to win than Scheffler and Burns here. Yeah. Would that be your take?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. From a ball striking standpoint, Colin and Cam are just light years ahead of these two right now. Yeah. They're just so inconsistent, and the odds are not reflecting that. So I think we can really pounce on something, especially if you do like a nice little Patrick Cantley and a Colin Cam, and then do a little 3-way parlay and then have KH and the boys, that could pay out some serious bucks. So, but even if you just bet this as a single and just parlay those other two, I think this is going to be pretty much giving you the same odds as the parlay of the other two, right?
Yeah, I mean potentially, absolutely, because they're the least favorite out of all of the international teams. This is the least favored team to get a victory going into the foursomes.
Yeah.
KH Lee's had a good year. I think he's underrated as well. Like, I mean, he's not Scotty Scheffler by any means, but I mean, can we look at like Tom Kim on an upside day matching up against Scotty Scheffler, who isn't in form, and then occasionally Sam Burns, like almost a push. The way that KH Lee's played this year.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. It's feasible.
Mm-hmm. And I was looking earlier, getting real nerdy with stuff. And if you take KH Lee's like top 75% of results or top 25% results, he jumps up the rankings in the 24 people in this field. So his upside is way there. What his issue is
the floor.
Is the floor. And if you're going to bet a guy to win, you're betting on his upside anyway. So the floor doesn't really matter that much. If he has a good day, you're going to cash in on those odds big time. So, yeah, I like it a lot.
100%. Got a question here from Robert Dove. Robert, welcome to the stream. If you do have any questions, chuck them in the chat. We're happy to answer them. So Robert Dove liked great picks and explanations. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Rob.
I appreciate that. Question: does the color red mean you like that duo? No. Is this Robert? You might be able to explain further in the chat. But do you mean this red where Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns' name is? Because it probably means that it's just the USA team, and we favor the USA team in most matches.
The colors,
or are you meaning in the ratings?
Yeah, I think what he's saying is the red names may be what I'm highlighting as my favorite pick, but it's just the colors of the team, right? So the black and gold is the international, and the red and white. The navy blue and red doesn't pop on a screen that well. Names. So the rating, if it's green, you like they're the favorite in the matchup. Red, not so hot on paper.
No, so Robert's clarified. We've got Rob said names. So yeah, no, that's just that beautiful black and gold uniform coming through. You know, that sexy outfit that I think Uni Yaos had a big part to play in actually, you know, putting together you know, a decent like logo and uniform for the team. So
yeah. And can we take 1 second just to appreciate the fact that Tom Kim didn't rip one pair of pants, but he ripped 2 pairs of pants before team.
It's almost impossible to make that happen. Yeah,
I know. I mean, I've ripped a pair of pants at a wedding every now and then, you know, especially when I get on the dance floor. But what is he doing ripping pants golfing, right? So very impressive.
Marketing strategy, you know, just letting it all hang out and you know, boosting your profile. That's one way to do it. So I love it. Smart man. He's a smart man. Yeah. Final matchup. Tony Finau, back off his rest yesterday, which I was surprised to see him getting rest yesterday. I'll add that. And Max Homer, Siwoo Kim, Cam Davis. We saw Siwoo and Cam get a big upset on day one, and actually they're the only international team that's won a match so far. So where are we leaning this way, Byron?
I don't care about that result because it was against the two boys that we are going against in the previous match. It was against Scotty and Sam. This bet at minus 180 has value at minus 180, which just shows you how big of a favorite these two are on paper. I think especially with the confidence Max Homer is playing like a top 5 golfer in the world right now. He pretty much carried Billy Horschel through the whole day today. I know Billy made 1 or 2 clutch par saves here and there, but Max was just on the greens, giving himself oozing confidence on the approach play, giving himself so many birdie looks. Between Tony and Max tomorrow, if Tony can get his driver figured out again, like he wasn't really hitting it that well on Thursday, he should bounce back tomorrow. I think this is a great core piece to have as a parlay piece as well. If you're going to throw some parlays together, you know, minus 180 is rough, but that's for it to push safe. A push is safe.
Sure.
I'd probably easily knock off a few points to take it as just a win only bet. And you could probably get it around about 150, maybe negative 150. And then I absolutely love it because these, I mean, look at all this red over here compared to, especially in the short game department from Siwoo. You know, Siwoo's just, I don't think he deserves to. Cam Davis, I'd say, is playing probably the best out of all the internationals right now. But if you're throwing Siwoo into the mix with him, having to hit half the shots, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. And I think that's where the majority of that negative rating is coming from a Siwoo coming in there. I think he's like the second worst international I have on the squad. So, yeah.
CB's been the worst?
Probably. It's one of the two of them I was at the bottom. So, yeah. Siwoo's nothing to write home about. And we got Tony and Max who are just sensational. Their floors are so high. So I think, you know, putting some really steep odds on their name I'll totally go to there for sure.
Yeah. In terms of odds I'm getting, Bet365, I mean, this is an option where a tie is a separate bet. I'm getting $1.76 on Finau and Homer, so that's minus 131.
Sign us up, dude. I'll pull the trigger on that right away.
Trigger.
Right? Yeah.
Easy. Look, I mean, I mentioned to you yesterday, right? Like Homer we're starting to get a profile for Max these last couple of years. I mean, he's improved year on year that he's been on the tour. Let's put it that way. And his win last week at the Fortinet, he's come in hot. The Fortinet was wild weather. There was a lot of wind.
Yeah.
And then if we look back at his win at the Wells Fargo, which wasn't played at this course at Quail Hollow, but that's the tournament that's usually played here. It was played over at TPC Potomac. Again, those last 2 days of that tournament of the Wells Fargo, which he won, was windy, wet conditions. So, if we're looking at like some decently high winds going into this day as well, again, decent gusts coming in. I like that homer play. Cam Davis has been playing really well. I mean, Cam Davis he is in my black book to keep an eye on this year. We're rolling him out in any sort of spot that I can find because I love the profile of this guy. On the other side, though, we're matching up him against Tony Finau, who I will share for your benefit and the listeners. I have one bet for 2023 already in the books. It is Tony Finau 40-1 to win the Masters. So I have seen just this year him start to get those wins together. He's got a good record at Augusta. That number's been trimmed now, so I mean I don't think you'll find a future prop bet on him for 40-1 anymore. But that's why I jumped on it. Is there was value in that number, and he wasn't going to be going off at 40-1 come the tournament.
No, I love this podcast I do with you. I get to leave feeling bad about something every single time we get on. Because yesterday it was the Pendrith Connors maple syrup going sour on me, and then today it's the Tony 40-1 Augusta future, which I love that, dude. Especially the history there, and the putting is definitely bounced back. Ever since he's got over the passing of his mother-in-law or father-in-law. That is the crazy thing about golf, dude, is you can have someone die in the family and then all of a sudden your putting just doesn't work anymore until you're back in a good headspace. So
but you can see it go the other way as well, though. I mean, that can give motivation to people if they really want to get out there and honor their family members and they maybe they're not thinking as much. Sometimes it's a good thing is keeping the 8 inches between the ears quiet for a little bit can be beneficial, right? So no, look, this for me again, it's an easy lean. I do think as well that Siwoo Cam Davis number is boosted by the fact that they got that win on their first day, but we've already alluded to in the other matchup that we perhaps suspect a bit of that is actually down to the way that Scheffler and Burns are playing more so than the way that Siwoo and Cam Davis played. And I expect this one to go the way of Finau and Max Homa.
Yeah.
All right.
They are nuts.
All of that said, that's our board. Those are the 4 matchups. So, Byron, let's run through where are you putting your money this week and or this day coming up, the morning session, and we'll go maybe a best bet from you as well out of those options.
Cool. This will be my best bet, and I'm rocking this one. If I can get a minus 130 on these 2 boys, Tony Finau, Max Homa, against a Siwoo Kim, who's going to be hitting half the shots. I don't care how good Cam Davis is playing right now. He's playing as good as Tony or at least as good as Max. Tony is way better than Siwoo. Sign me up. That's going to be my best bet for sure. And then I don't think I'm going to do anything with this Tom Kim Scotty bet. And I think I'm going to roll if I can find some nice 3-way odds on Colin and Cam. I'll definitely be doing that. Definitely parlay. The parlays are fun with such limited odds and such steep odds too. And then I might roll the dice on the underdogs with Corey Connors and Sung Jae. Just if the steam comes in on Jordan and JT and I can get a 2-1 on Corey and Sung Jae, somehow I'll keep monitoring them. I think it will get better. I'll go there.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. I mean, I would say that if you do like that Connors and M side, I wouldn't necessarily be placing the bet right now. I'd be leaving it a bit because I do expect money to come on the side of Spieth and Thomas there. Yeah. That number's going to shorten, and then conversely, the Connors M number's likely to go out a little bit and drift. So, yeah, I like that. I like that thinking from you there as well. Yeah. For me, I'm going to go in that matchup. I'm actually going to go Spieth and Thomas. As I mentioned, I think the short game and the around the green is going to be really important going into this day. I just know that this matchup is is this pair is so dominant in previous iterations of either the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup. They've got a fantastic record, and I think that the wind, if anything, is going to aid them a bit. So I'm going to go that. The next game, Cam Young Morikawa, that's a lock for me on the Cam Young Morikawa side. So I'm getting $1.76 on that. That feels like fantastic value. I don't like the way that Scott and Matsuyama paired together. I'm surprised that they kept that pairing out again. I'm surprised they didn't split them up and try and change the mentality around those two, because it didn't work day one. And maybe a woman's numbers suggest something different, but for me, Young and Morikawa just feels like a cheat code. Like it just feels like a hack of the game of golf, Young hitting drives and Morikawa hitting approach.
Create a player.
And then Young getting to hit the putt. He's the better putter of the two too. So I just see that edge there for them. I like the South Korean team. I'm going to take KH Lee Tom Kim. I'm happy to take the big number on them. I feel that's too long. I don't think Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns should be the shortest game of the day. For me, that should go to Morikawa and Young. So I'm happy to take the big number on that. And final game, Finau Homer, as mentioned, going to lean that way as well. So we'll ride that one together and hopefully straight to the desk to cash our tickets.
Yes. We got
what I'm going to make my best bet.
Is the only one that's we going up against each other, but I think our logic and the way we bet is sound too, right? Yeah. It's not like I do believe JT is a better and Spieth are a better play, but I like the number, especially if I can find a fat one. So,
look, and to be honest, I'm with that. I'm if you jump back to that screen just quickly, that would be usually the way I would play this. I would look at it and I'd go, the value number is on Connors and them, like the expected value is there. The only thing I would say is that it's not taking into account the wind. That would be the only, that's that X factor for me of we're seeing kind of 35 mile per hour gusts, and I probably just like that Spieth and Thomas in that situation a little bit more, but it's close. It is extremely close. So because of that, I will be making my best bet a parlay again, as I did yesterday. So for those who missed the start of the stream, my best bet yesterday was Spieth and Thomas into Billy Ho and Homer as a parlay. I put 5 units on that at $3.43, which cashed. So massive returns on that one there. My best bet today will be Cam Young, Morikawa into Finau and Homer. I feel those two, for me, I'm very happy to put those as bankers. So in terms of the odds on that one there, I'm getting here on Bet365 $3.13 as the odds, or plus 213 for those two matchups to go the way of the Americans. I'm happy to fade the Scott Matsuyama pair. And look, Siwoo and Cam, they were amazing against Scheffler and Burns, but I just think Finau and Max Homer are the superior players for me.
I'm going to follow you in that one. I love it. Love that bet. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
But everyone, make sure that you're following us on Twitter. So I'll post my final betting card, exactly where I'm allocating my units at Deep Dive Golf. Make sure you're giving it the Model Maniac a follow as well, because I'm sure he'll be putting out some more info as well and linking some things on his page that's a must read. As I mentioned at the start of the show, we've got a promo at the moment with Win Daily, $5.99 per week. You get a 1 month free trial. So jump on today, sign up, jump onto my Twitter. You've got the promo link there, and jump in Discord. We can discuss some of these bets in our Discord channel exclusive as well, directly with us, which is awesome. Byron, any last thoughts before we head away today?
Last thoughts. I think we've dived into a lot of. I'm just looking forward to it again. I know the scoreboard sucks, but the golf was great. I don't think the canyon between the scores is representative of the level of golf that's been presented by both sides, outside of Patrick Cantley and Xander. Obviously, they're not even playing tomorrow, so we could see a lot more close matchups tomorrow. Maybe, but hopefully not for us. But some good golf. Right. I think we'll see some really good golf again, and looking forward to the afternoon where we see more shots, which I think is going to be the most entertaining part of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope that the bookies get onto the matchups and pairings really nice and quickly and roll some odds out for us before those afternoon games. And look, maybe we can jump on a quick stream and give a quick like 10-15 minute diagnosis between the foursomes and the full balls, because it'd be a shame to miss out on some of those opportunities. And it just makes it a bit more fun having something to ride and root for, because as you said, the USA seems pretty insurmountable at the moment. I mean, these guys could win it tomorrow. Singles could be just like a complete wash of, the USA's got it done and dusted in the bag, which would be interesting as well.
Hopefully not.
Maybe
not. Maybe the bets we don't place win, and then we close it. So
and maybe the internationals go in 1 point with 1 point behind or something. Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? There's options. It's golf, right? Like, as match play, it's volatile, and there's wind out there. Like, anything can happen. I suspect that it'll be another rort for the USA across the board, morning and afternoon. If they don't win it tomorrow, they might be on 14.5 or 14. They might be one game away from victory come singles, and the internationals be faced with a situation where they need to win all 12 games, which would be an interesting proposition. Which would be, I mean, if it happened, would be the greatest day in golf. So you never know. You never know. Byron, awesome to see you again, buddy. Always good to have a couple of internationals discussing golf, discussing and analyzing the day 2, the day 3 preview. Some great bets out there. Thanks for your time. Great to have you in here. Thanks for your number crunching. Amazing stats.
Yeah, thanks for inspiring me to do it. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. What was your best bet of the day?
It was the final one. Tony and Max over Siwoo and Cam.
Wrong. It was sports.